about my background and inspiration behind the book Instructional Design Unleashed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our new series of Meet the Author with LXD Guild. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our new series of Meet the Author with LXD Guild. So, very happy to have another author for this podcast, which definitely we are looking forward to have new insights coming for our community. So, let me not wait and go ahead with the introduction. An instructional designer holding masters in computer science, worked as a freelancer for 3 to 4 years and moved to full-time role with Harvey Jimmy. I'm very happy to welcome Ankita Jiyani to our podcast.
Thanks, Sandeep, for inviting me and a warm welcome with a great introduction. And I'm really happy and excited about this and looking forward for this podcast, for this series.
Thank you very much, Ankita. So, without much ado, let us go ahead and start. So, could you tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to write Instructional Design Unleashed?
So, yeah, sure. I'd be happy to share about my background and inspiration behind the book Instructional Design Unleashed. So, I have been deeply involved in the field of education for many years, and my journey began as an assistant professor where I used to teach computer science engineering subjects to the students enrolled in the BTech undergraduate program. And while I was teaching there, I noticed a gap between what the engineering curriculum covered and the skills required by the students, which is needed them to be ready for the job market. And while researching how to bridge the gap between these, I got to know how profoundly a well designed instructional material affects student engagement and learning outcomes. So then and there I started researching about the instructional design domain, and when I started learning about this instructional design, so I found that information was spread across various domains and at various resources, and it was like everywhere. So theories, methods, and best practices were scattered along across the different resources such as textbooks, online forums, and workshops and webinars. So I looked everywhere for one complete guide with everything that I need to know about this domain, but I couldn't find it. So instead, I had to gather the bits and pieces of knowledge from many places and put them together in the book. So, for the book Instructional Design Unleashed, so the idea of collating all my learnings and insights in one place was born when I looked at the cover page of the book, which is Beginner's Guide to the Instructional Design, which is a book by Purnima Valyathan. And I also wanted to create a resource that would empower educators and instructional designers and anyone that is involved in the creation of learning experience to harness the latest research and best practices in the field. So, this book basically aims to bridge the gap between theory and the practice, providing actionable guidance on designing instructional materials and maximizing the retention and foster meaningful learning experiences. So, in essence, the inspiration behind the book is a blend of my own experiences as an educator or as a researcher, along with the commitment to advancing the field of instructional design. And I believe that by leveraging the power of well crafted instructional materials, we can truly unlock the potential of learners and create more effective and inclusive educational environments.
Yes,
So, yeah.
thank you, Ankita, for that. And yes, definitely, Purnima Valyathan's book has been one of the motivations and also covering a lot of fundamentals of instructional design. I think really is a beginner's guide, and happy to hear that that has also been part of your inspiration for this book. Yes, and yeah, quick information here. So Purnima Valyathan is part of LXD Guild because she is the one caters to our Bootcamp program. So she is a facilitator. So really great partnership which is with her, and definitely this book, what you are also bringing up, it will definitely be a much more inspiration. Thank you, Ankita. And yeah, what I see is here, like your journey has been more like from university to corporate, right? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of educators are also looking for that, but there is a gap, I think, which is possibly going to be filled with what you are bringing as a resource. So looking forward to that. Yes. And thank you. And what I want to just going to next question to you is your book covers the fundamentals of instructional design. So could you briefly explain what instructional design entails and why it is crucial for effective learning experiences?
Okay. Yes, my book covers the fundamental of instructional design, and it is being categorized under two categories, which is known as the art of instructional design and the science of instructional design. So, science, basically, instructional design is a process of combining art and science of how people learn and all these things. So, instructional design basically is a process of systematically developing educational experiences. So, I would like to explain this process with the help of an analogy of a movie director, which I have also used in my book to explain this thing. So we are instructional designers and we are just like a movie directors. So the first step whenever a movie director creates a movie is to write the script, right? So similarly, we analyze the learner needs and design learning objectives. So which outlines the story, the characters, and all these things. An instructional designer begins this thing by understanding the learners and setting clear objectives of what the learning experience should achieve, and developing the content and activities. So, as a director selects actors and rehearses the scenes to ensure the story is brought to life effectively, similarly, an instructional designer creates and organizes the content and activities that will engage the learners and help them meet the learning objectives. Next, the implementing the plan. So the director oversees the filming process and ensures that everything runs smoothly and according to the plan and according to the script. So as an instructional designer, we also try to deliver the educational program, whether through classes or online modules or other platforms or other methods, just to ensure that how effective it would be. And then after delivering the content, we try to evaluate the effectiveness. So after filming, let's say for example, a director reviews and edits the footage to create the final movie, right? So instructional designers evaluate the effectiveness of the learning experience and make the necessary adjustment to improve it at the later stages. Now, when it comes to the movie release, so the final outcome, the success or the failure of the movie depends on the audience, right? So similarly, instructional designers or the materials or whatever we have delivered is the success and the failure of that material totally depends on the learner performance and their feedback. So once we deliver those things and we assess the performance and the feedback, and then we again use that feedback to refine our educational programs. Yeah, so in both roles, the
Yes,
goal is to create basically a compelling and effective experience, whether it's an engaging movie or an impactful learning journey. So yeah,
true.
that's about the instructional design process, and it is crucial because it ensures that learning experiences are effective, engaging, and customized to the needs of the learners. So yeah,
True, true. Yeah, thank you. And that really is something which we talk as learning experience, right?
yeah,
So that is what we also as Learning Experience Design Guild want to promote. So what you have mentioned is also, yeah, it is a continuous process again, right? So you design, you develop, and then you go ahead and evaluate and again iterate. So I think, yeah, so that's really very much important for even the corporates or be it of any domain or industry, that it's not like one time you create something and then you just launch it and then forget about it, right? You need
exactly.
to go reach out to the target audience, and only then you can call that, okay, as per your analogy, right? If a film or the movie is a hit or a flop, right? and your collections peak. So here I think, yeah, we don't have collections, but yeah, definitely learner feedback. Yeah. Okay, great. So thank you. And yeah, moving to the next question, or more of a topic, which is very prevalent these days, which you can hear, is inclusivity,
Yeah.
right? So, is inclusivity a significant theme in your book? And I see that it is a significant theme in your book. So, what are some strategies you recommend for promoting equitable practices and mitigating unconscious bias in learning environment?
Okay, yeah. So my book talk about an approach called IDEA, which is an acronym and stands for inclusivity, diversity, equality or equity, and accessibility. So as an educator or an instructional designer, we must provide an opportunity for equitable practices and should try to mitigate the unconscious biasness in the learning environments to create inclusive educational experiences. So, some strategies that I would recommend is representation and diversity. So, this is the first strategy. So, ensure that your learning materials and examples and resources that you have used reflect the diverse perspectives, cultures, and the backgrounds. So, this helps all the learner feel that they are valued and they are represented in the content or the context of the materials. So use images or from different diversities and ethnicities and use cultural references and their stories in your content to encapsulate the abstract concepts. Second point I would say is accessible design. So design the materials and activities that are accessible to learners with different abilities, and we have been like researching about all these things, like there are learners with the different impairments. So try to provide alternative formats for the content. For example, you can provide audio versions of the textual information, or you can provide transcript for the videos if the learner is visually impaired or something like that. Or you can provide closed captions for audio and video content, and ensure that your color contrast ratios are balanced and so on. So the list is very huge. And third, I would say the language and communication. So use inclusive language that avoid stereotypes and promote respect for all individuals in the learning environment. So provide clear instructions and avoid jargon that may be unfamiliar to some learners. So for example, if a learner who is a novice in the field of a literature, and he or she may not be aware with the word called stream of consciousness, for example, so try to keep the material aligned with the wider audience. So yeah, that's it. And I would like to add one more point here, that is collaborative learning. So encourage collaborative activities or group work that foster peer learning and respect for diverse viewpoints. So yeah, this is
Yes.
how these are some strategies that you can use to make your materials inclusive.
Yes, thank you. And that's really very informative because, yes, when it comes to web content, we have certain international guidelines which we follow, such as WCAG, that is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And also we have ADA, which is American Disabilities Act under Section 508. I think these are becoming more and more rapidly implemented in whatever content which we generate these days. And yeah, I really like that the acronym which you used, idea, right? So that is definitely something which, when we design and develop as instructional designers, we need to ensure we are meeting those standards. Yes, thank you. So coming to the next topic, which I would like to discuss on what is in your book, is okay, with the rise of virtual learning environments, right? What are some best practices for creating effective online learning experience?
Okay, it's really very interesting to see the rise of virtual reality or VR in this domain. So, creating effective online learning experiences involves the usage of cutting edge technologies, which actually or should allow learners to interact with the virtual environments scenarios or simulations, whatever you are creating. So VR can utilize 3D environments, 360-degree photographs, or videos overlaid with interactive elements to engage the learners and enhance their retention. And to create such learning experience, I would suggest we can leverage a team of professionals, which includes script writers, 2D and 3D artists, motion graphic experts, and video developers to design and develop the compelling VR learning content or experiences. Again, the accessibility and compatibility is another concern. We must ensure that VR content is accessible across all the devices and platforms to accommodate diverse learner needs, and compatibility with different VR headsets and accessibility features enhance the inclusivity and usability. So I would like to suggest some authoring tools for the same. So to create VR learning experiences, we can use a scenario VR from Lectora, ARV Labs, and Storyflow. So these are the authoring tools that we can actually use to create VR learning experiences.
Yes, thank you for the tools and helping us understand how important, yeah, even the virtual learning when we create, but there are certain aspects which we need to keep in mind, right? Thank you. And another question around the same concept is, so how do you see generative AI reshaping the field of instructional design and e-learning in the coming years?
Yeah, Sandeep, it's one of my favorite topics in instructional design, generative AI. So it has potentially already reshaped the instructional design and e-learning industries in significant ways. We can actually see it has already helping many instructional designers and developers and educators with content creation, whether it's in the form of a storyboards, learning objectives, content creation, or assessments, and the list goes on. So one of the important aspect that I see in future is that if we can use the generative AI for data-driven insights, so AI analytics can extract the actionable insights from learning data such as learner engagement patterns, knowledge gaps, and performance trends. So, this data driven approach actually enables educators and instructional designers to make informed decision to enhance their instructional design approach and strategies and improve learning outcomes. And second, that I would see here is personalized learning experiences. So generative AI can analyze vast amount of learner data to personalize their learning experiences, and by understanding the learning styles, preferences, and progress, AI algorithms can recommend tailored content, adaptive assessments, and learning paths that will again optimize the learning outcomes for each category of learner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I see that already shaping up in LMSs, right? So the learning management systems are also transitioning to be what is called as learning experience platforms,
Yeah.
right? I think a lot of AI is getting inside there where, as you mentioned, the learning paths are designed and at times they are prompted to the learner based on the data which is provided to the system, right? So I think it's a really great thing. And so I think so then this says we don't have to worry about AI, but rather make it AI as our buddy, right? So that is what
Exactly.
which
Don't be
we need
afraid.
to think.
Don't be
Yes.
afraid of using it. So I see many people, they are actually afraid of this technology and they are like, okay, how to use it and how shall we go about it and all these things. So
Yes.
I would really say do not afraid, just use it and leverage it and improve your productivity. Yeah.
Yes. And LXD Guild is also very happy to be introducing on the similar platform, okay, with help of Ankita. Yes. So please keep watching our space for more. And yes, so very important question because yeah, so very much congratulations on launch of the book. So now is the target audience, right? So who is going to benefit the most from reading the book Instructional Design Unleashed?
Okay, so actually, when I was writing the book, I didn't think anyone but instructional designers first and the foremost, because I actually struggled when I was learning this instructional design domain, and I was really couldn't found anything that would can get the help and all these things. So, instructional designers and developers are the first category of the people that I would say who would get
Okay,
benefit from this book. Educators and teachers, they can also use this book for improving or just upskilling themselves. Training and development specialist, those who are in the training and development department and wants to create something new or something that should actually align with the learner needs and all these things keeping in mind, so they can actually use this thing. Professionals in corporate training, so while designing corporate training and all things, that do we need to consider what kind of learning theories will be implemented and how we will be evaluating the effectiveness of the program, so they can also use it. Curriculum developers and learning experience designers, research and scholars in education, and students and aspiring professionals in instructional design. So they can actually use this book to get the insights and just upskill and reskill, learn and unlearn, relearn about the process of instructional designing.
great, great. I think, yeah, it's a very broad audience, and definitely there is a need for uh, such information which can really help them on their day-to-day basis, because what I see is most of them are engulfed in what they are doing on a current day. And at times, though we are creators, okay, as instructional designers, at times even we fall into that category where we do the same thing every day. But I think this information which you are bringing through this book is definitely helpful to all this target audience which you mentioned, maybe at their analysis stage or a design or development, or also if they want to look forward and beyond. I think definitely there is valuable inputs, as you are also discussing about how AI also supplements whatever you are doing currently, right? So I think that is really great. Now I have something to ask you about. What are the key takeaways that you hope your readers will gain from this?
Okay, so the key takeaways that I hope the readers will gain from Instructional Design Unleashed. So it can encompass the foundation principles of instructional design, practical strategies, visionary insights on how to create the effective learning outcomes or learning experiences. Yeah, so readers will develop a clear understanding of what instructional design entails, including the principles, methodologies, and systematic approach to create effective learning experiences. The book also explores the various learning theories and how they can be practically applied in instructional design process. And readers will learn how to leverage the theories such as behaviorism, constructivism, cognitivism, and connectivism to inform their design decisions. And they can also benefit, or they can also read about this effective strategies for designing assessments, and how to align those assignments with the learning objectives, whether they are actually measuring the learning objective or not. So these things they will be getting into the book. And yeah, and they will also learn how to evaluate the effectiveness of the instructional design materials that they have designed, and how they can use that data to improve their design process again. Yeah, and it also actually addresses the ethical considerations in instructional design while it comes to using of generative AI. So yeah, so these are the particular key takeaways. Sorry, I just
Yes, yes. No worries. Yeah, that's fine. So I think, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So thank you very much, Ankita. So coming to the closure of this wonderful podcast, so there's a very, very important and the last question to you. So if there was one piece of advice you could give to instructional designers or e-learning professionals and educators, what would it be?
So I would say prioritize your learner, like prioritize the learner experience above all else. So you just understand the learner, take the time to understand your learner, their needs, their backgrounds, their motivation and learning styles. Do some survey and get the data from it, and then you can move ahead with the creation of the instructional materials, and make sure that your instructional materials are engaging, relevant and meaningful to all learners. So the data that you have collected during your need analysis phase is really really important. Yeah, and design,
Yes.
one more thing that I would say, accessibility. So make sure that all the learners that you are catering to the wider audience. So include those with disabilities or with some kind of impairments. And yeah, that's it.
That's right. So thank you very much, Ankita, and that was really very informative, and it's really amazing. And once again, congratulations on.
Thank you.
Is it your first book, Ankita, or did you have
Yeah,
any
this is
others?
my actually first book. And
Wow.
yeah, so writing a book was in my bucket list since I was doing my undergraduate program. So I had this thing in
Okay.
my mind for quite a long time. So now I got
Okay.
the chance, I just found the gap and just got the chance to write about it. So just, yeah.
Wow. So then, wow, congratulations. And yeah, you are getting onto the list of ID authors from India, which is,
Yeah.
I think, very few. And it's really a very great milestone for our instructional design industry, I should say. And very glad that we are part of LXD Guild. And yes, our endeavors to get such amazing authors and amazing experienced, as what do you say, professionals to come on such platform and provide you with great insights. So thank you once again, Ankita, for your time. And okay, so I just want to give a small announcement or more like a surprise. So from LXD Guild, we are happy to give away few copies of Ankita's book, right? The Instructional Design Unleashed. We are happy. So there is a survey which is going around on LXD Guild platform and various social media channels. So if you can go ahead and uh, attempt and give the survey, so we can go ahead and pick the winners and announce the winners of this copy of Instructional Design Unleashed. Okay, so keep watching the space, guys, and I think it's been a wonderful session, and looking forward for more such sessions. And as you always know, and as always, you know that at LXD Guild, learning never stops. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.